In the heart of a bustling metropolis, where the streets thrummed with the rhythm of life and the lights of the city glittered like stars in the night sky, there lived a young woman named Isabelle. Isabelle was a dreamer, her head always in the clouds, her heart full of hope and love. She worked in a small bookstore, surrounded by the wisdom of the ages, the scent of old books like a balm to her soul. One rainy evening, as Isabelle was closing up the shop, a man stepped inside, seeking shelter from the storm. His name was Alexander, and he was a writer, his eyes filled with stories waiting to be told. Isabelle was captivated by him, by his words and his laughter, by the way he looked at her as if she were the only person in the world. As the days turned into weeks, Isabelle and Alexander fell deeply in love. They spent their days exploring the city, getting lost in its labyrinthine streets, and their nights wrapped in each other's arms, their love like a fire burning brightly in the darkness. Isabelle had never been happier, never felt more alive, than when she was with Alexander. But as with all great loves, theirs was not without its challenges. Alexander was a man haunted by his past, by demons that lurked in the shadows of his mind. He tried to shield Isabelle from his pain, to be the man she needed him to be, but the darkness was always there, threatening to consume him. One day, Alexander received news that would change everything. His past had caught up with him, in the form of a debt that could not be ignored. He was faced with an impossible choice: leave Isabelle and repay the debt, or stay with her and risk losing everything. In the end, Alexander chose to leave. He knew that he could not drag Isabelle down with him, that she deserved a life free from his troubles. He left in the dead of night, without a word of goodbye, breaking Isabelle's heart in the process. For weeks, Isabelle waited for Alexander to return, her heart aching with each passing day. She clung to the hope that he would come back to her, that their love would conquer all. But as the weeks turned into months, and Alexander did not return, Isabelle's hope began to fade. She tried to move on, to fill the void in her heart with work and friends, but nothing could fill the emptiness left by Alexander's absence. She visited the places they had once shared, the bookstore where they had first met, the park where they had picnicked on lazy afternoons, but everywhere she looked, she saw reminders of him, of the love they had shared. And then, one day, as she was walking along the riverbank, lost in her memories, she saw him. Alexander was standing on the bridge, his eyes locked on hers, his face pale and drawn. Isabelle's heart skipped a beat, her breath catching in her throat, as she ran towards him, her arms outstretched. But as she reached him, Alexander stepped back, his eyes filled with tears. "I'm sorry, Isabelle," he whispered. "I thought I could do this, that I could leave you behind, but I was wrong. I love you, Isabelle, more than life itself." And with that, Alexander stepped off the bridge, his body disappearing into the churning waters below. Isabelle screamed, her heart shattering into a million pieces, as she watched the man she loved, the man who had broken her heart and put it back together again, slip away from her forever. In the days that followed, Isabelle was consumed by grief. She blamed herself for Alexander's death, for not being enough to save him. She withdrew from the world, retreating into herself, her once vibrant spirit dimmed by the weight of her sorrow. But in her darkest moments, Isabelle found solace in the memories of her love for Alexander, of the moments they had shared and the love they had known. She knew that their love was eternal, that even death could not separate them. And so, Isabelle lived out the rest of her days in quiet solitude, her heart forever haunted by the ghost of her lost love. She never forgot Alexander, never stopped loving him, knowing that their love would live on, in this life and the next, forever and always. See you again in another story. Please subscribe to our channel.